it's Vanessa filming for Carolyn's Musings on YouTube and Etsy and One Way Journals on Facebook. So welcome if you are a returning subscriber, or if you've just popped by the channel, welcome to you as well. And hopefully you all remember to help out the channel by liking and commenting on this video. That would be fantastic. Okay, so what have we got for you today? We've got the Praise Journal digital kit made into a journal. It is just beautiful. Anybody who loves old hymns in journals, I love to add hymn pages and things like that into the journal. So this is just absolutely stunning. So I've got a ribbon, I've got a lace closure here, and I wanted it to look like a hymn book, so that's why it's not overly embellished on the side on here, but I have added some pearls strips there. And then yes, we have a window cover, so we'll go through the make of that and all that good stuff, and you can have a look. There's beautiful pages in here, isn't it just gorgeous? Beautiful. All right, so let's get to the next bit and show you what's exactly in the kit. I've printed on 120 GSM, so it's just a little bit thicker than your normal photocopy paper. So this is the first one. I haven't printed on the back because this will be part of the cover that we create. So there's that one with the beautiful flower image, but there's also this one as well, and Carolyn's created in case you wanted to do a male version or give it to a gentleman. So she's done that, and then this is the plain backing piece that can be so that your praise journal can look like a proper hymn book. So that would be the inside of it. And then let's have a look at these beautiful papers. So this one, Count Your Blessings, with, I love all these autumny types of leaves, and this is one of the backing papers, so that's on there. And then When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, this one, isn't this gorgeous? And then that's another one of the backing papers. And then this one with the leaves and the image here. And this is one of the backing papers. So it's a plain green one. And then this one, We'll Understand It Better By and By. There we go. Now, what I have done is you can alternate with the backing papers that are in there. They're fabulous, that you could put on the back of any of these. I have a whole bunch of autumn scrapbooking papers that are one-sided, so I wanted to print on the other side of them and just use them up because I've had them there for years. So sorry, that's why some of these are going to be printed on that, and you might see them when I go to do the flip through that there's a couple of different papers. So these are actually just something that were in my stash. When We All Get to Heaven, and My Saviour's Love, and then Showers of Blessings. That one is from I'll go look it up and I'll put it on the screen. It's from one of Carolyn's kits. It's a backing paper. And then this beautiful one, Jesus and Child, Open My Eyes That I Might See. And then I've backed it with one of the music hymn sheets. And so the Old Rugged Cross and I Stand Amazed in the Presence. Only Trust Him on this one. Writing page here at Calvary, and then the Solid Rock. There are so many beautiful hymns in this kit. And then this is the picture page. And then we have down at the cross, Jesus Paid It All. Beautiful, beautiful window here. And I Am Thine, O Lord. And Rock of Ages, the Haven of Rest. Here we go. Another one at the church altar, He Leadeth Me. And then We'll Understand It Better By and By, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. This one, He Keeps Me Singing, Wonderful Grace of Jesus. How Great Thou Art, we all know that one. Rescue the Perishing. Count Your Blessings, There Shall Be Showers of Blessing. I Am Bound for the Promised Land, and When the Roll is Called Up Yonder. Onward, Christian Soldiers. It's a very old hymn. Stand up for Jesus. When We All Get to Heaven. My Saviour's Love. Nothing But the Blood, and There Is the Power in the Blood. And then, oh, look at that. I have got lines through it, so it means this is the only thing with the EcoTank 2850. I'm not sure if you guys have the same issue, but every couple of print jobs it puts lines through it, and then you have to do a maintenance clean on it. I've just noticed that. So that's a digital from one of Carolyn's kits. I'm sure it's Neroli Blossom, but it looks like I'm going to have to reprint that page. All right, let's have a look at the ephemera. Let's hopefully these printed okay. So I printed on 160 GSM, and so this is the hymn board where you can put numbers on it. They've got a flap, so they're going to be glued back to each other. So I haven't printed on the back. Depends if I'm going to do a pocket. I might have to end up coming back and printing on the back. I'm not sure yet. And then here we've got the numbers that we can put on the hymn board. We've got a flip here. Probably the bookmark could go in there, I'm thinking. So there we go, some ephemera. I haven't printed on the back, but I might come back and do that. Then we have some great pockets here, and then some labels. More pockets, double-sided. It can be a flip, or a double-sided floating pocket. More pockets here. More pockets there, and then some tags. So I've gone and printed on 250 GSM, which is the thickest cardstock I can fit through the printer, and I need to come back and print on the back of that one. And then these are the same because they're postcards, 250 GSM, and this is the lightest backing paper that's in the kit, so I can write on the back of the postcards. So there's that one. And then we've got hymn cards here, journaling cards or tags. And then I've printed that backing on there. And then here we've got some more hymns here. At the cross, the love of God, no other plea. And then these, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be put into... We've got a little mini journal, which is included, which is here. So these ones I'm not quite sure, but we'll have a play. So here we go. This is the mini journal set. And so you have the cover here of the mini journal. No, mini journal pocket inserts. And then that's supposed to be printed on the back. So we're going to cut them out and hope that I've lined them up properly. And then these are mini journal pocket inserts, and I've just noticed the lines again, so I'm going to have to reprint that. And then there's the backing on that one. And then we have this one, which is a file tab, so you score down here. So I think this is a flip. You score here and then glue it and turn it back in underneath, and we've got some other elements here. So there we go. Let me cut those all out and then come back to you so we can have a bit of a play and put this journal together. And here is the sheet of bookmarks. I had actually already printed and cut them out when I was doing a previous video tutorial because I wanted to try them on acetate. So I'm sorry I haven't printed them on cardstock, but they've come out really beautiful on transparency film or acetate, whatever you want to call them. So I'll just hold them up. Hopefully you can see those. Let's see if I had a sheet of paper. There we go. There's that one. That one. My acetate wasn't that clear on the printer, so there's a couple of little smudge marks, but yeah, that's unfortunately my printer, but aren't they beautiful? So you could print those on cardstock or acetate like I've done there, and that was because I was trying out some acetate when I was making this little folio. So this one came out, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'll just quickly show you. It is in a previous video, so in the information box on the top of this video, just press where it says more. It'll have details of the video of this one as well as the kit over on Etsy, but it's got these stained glass windows, which is what made me think of doing these in acetate, the bookmarks, and then it comes out like this, and then it has a pocket here, and there's lots of pocket options, so you don't have to use the ones that are here. There's quite a few different ones, and then if you flip there, there's 2 tags in there, flip there and there's 2 tags in there, and then on the back there's another pocket with another card, and then I just made a little belly band for it. Anyway, so that's not in this kit. This is a separate one. It's a little folio, but I just wanted to show you because I might include it in the journal. We'll just see how we go in making it. So everything is cut out and inked up, and I've split the papers into 2 signatures. So what I wanted to mention to you was that you might want to make one simple journal, and in doing that what you could do is choose one of these journal covers, and if you printed on a thick stock or backed it with some thick cardstock, what you could do is you could put in a signature, wrap it around, sew it in. You could do a hidden spine as well. You might be able to do 2 signatures, but by the time you put ephemera in, I think it might be pushing it. But if you did want to do that you could make a simple journal like that. Now, I haven't printed on heavy cardstock because I'm going to make a separate cover, which I will do a little bit later on. So we're going to leave that there. But here are my 2 signatures. Now, what I did with this one was I printed on some acetate transparency film. I actually, on my computer, mirrored the image, put them next to each other and printed them out, and then folded in half. And then, so now I've got some vellum, because I thought when I open up the journal, I sort of wanted an image of the stained glass windows. So I think that goes quite well with that backing paper. Look at this, with the music notes, the autumn leaves, and then the cross, stained glass cross. Absolutely beautiful, Carolyn. So that's gorgeous. And I've just sort of tried to mix them up with backing papers, with images, with the hymns, and then you know, you've got these pages as well. So you can have, I'll show you a little bit later on how that comes together. This one here is the center page, and I've decided what I'm going to do is use this as the flap. So this would be great to hold the bookmark. So I'll just show you here the bookmark printed on acetate. It fits in there beautifully. So I can have 2 bookmarks. And what I have done is I've also mirrored the image on my computer as well. So I've got one that's this way. Gosh. So I've got one that is that way, flip up, and one that is that way, flip up to the left. And then I thought, well, if I flip up, what am I going to do in underneath? So my thought was that I'll probably put these stacked double pockets. So in here, what you can do is, that's what it would look like if you stacked them like that, or if you put it like that. Or what you can do is swap them over. So that one could be like that. This one could be like that. And then I'm going to have the flips. Now they're a bit wider than the flip, so you'll be able to see that there is something there underneath. And then that one will be there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And so just if you're new to journaling, what you'll want to do is just glue 1, 2, and 3 sides there, so it backs onto that one, and then you glue that one 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've used a hot glue. It's a bit of stuff there. So 1, 2, 3, and then stick it down on your page. Now, I wonder what it would look like if you did it. Nope. Looks better if it's like that. Okay, so that's that bit. And then all the other pockets, let's have a look. So all of these are self-explanatory. I've just cut them out and I'll be putting them through the journal. So that's those. And then this one is the next signature, and I've got that as my center. Not sure what I'm going to be doing for the center of this one yet, but that's okay. So I put that aside. Now with this one, I'm going to come and have a look at this. It's got a flap here. So when you cut them out, they're mirrored. And so you can glue them together. And then with the numbers, where are the numbers? Here we go. You can print these out as many times as you want. Cut them out, and then you can just you could look up some of the hymn numbers and you could cut them out and glue them directly onto here. You could put them on the front and the back. I was thinking of having a bit of a fiddle, and I might glue these onto some strips and then cut here with the cutting knife here, and then insert them, and you can pull them in and out. So I'll have a play and see if that works and come back to you. And so we're just thinking about flips and things before we do anything with our signatures, so that we've got a bit of an idea where we want to put things. Now this one is pretty self-explanatory. There's 2 bits here. If you glue down 1, 2, 3 sides like that, then you've got room to put in your journaling card or your tag, and then the other flap, depending on which way you want it to go, that can be inserted in a page and then used as a flip. So you can think of where you'd like to put that in your journal. I was thinking I might, not sure yet, but this one here. So this one has a flap, and so the instructions are to score down here and fold, score here and fold, and then glue it down. Now it flaps that way because it's too wide that way, but when you flap it over, if you go this way, that looks like an open page to a book. So if you want to, you could just keep it the way it is, and you could put some stickers or some stamps or things. You could even put like a ribbon down the center so that it looks like the real opening of a book. That's an option. What I've decided to do is I actually cut. So I cut through there to create 2 pockets. And I could have cut the notch here, but I thought it might be too difficult to get things out with the flap. So what I've done is, I know that the image is like an open book that way, but I've decided to do this, cut out a notch, inked it, and I'm going to glue this down like that, and then this one down like that, and I've created myself 2 pockets. And because I didn't print this double-sided, I've just got a few scrap bits of backing paper and just glued those down so that you can't see white with the notches. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I was contemplating, before I stitch it in, I might possibly put it at the beginning of the signature here, and then what I could do is put this one as a flap. If I put that there, that could be a flap on the back. Thinking, and I might give it a go. So I might do that. If you don't like that idea, all you need to do is use it as a flap on one of your pages within the journal. Okay, so have a little think about where you want to have those flips and flaps and things. There's a little mini book. I printed mine double-sided and it didn't line up properly, so I'm going to leave that at the moment and then come back with where I'm going to put that one. And so the next thing, I wanted to show you what I had to play with. Now, Kathy's Garden on YouTube, she had these vellum pockets that she used with with book pages. So I was like, you know what? I can make the same sort of thing and alter it. To fill our pockets as well, we've got these great postcards that I still need to ink up. And we've also got this one, which I printed the backing on. I need to ink this one as well. Just folded it into 3, and that can be put as a flap if you want in your journal with some washi tape, or you could tuck it into a pocket. Okay, sorry, now going back to this. So what I've done is these images that were here, that were on the journal pages, I've reduced them to 4 to a page. So I've isolated that page on my computer and then made them. Now I'll just tell you what the measurements are. They came out at 3 1/4, so nearly 3 1/4 inches that way, and then height wise it is 5 3/8. Okay, now what I've done is decided to use these as a tag to go into this. So the 4 cards, 5, I've made 5, but I've done a couple of extra, so these are a few extra here. All right, so you want to make sure that you've got your sizing right, that your tag will fit into it. And then what I did was I grabbed a sheet of vellum and I cut it into 4 pieces and then cut a notch out of the top. And then what I did was, so to make sure that the vellum is actually bigger than the card, the journal card, and it just really softens that image. And then I've gone to the sewing machine and sewn around the edges. Okay, so as long as I had that straight up the top, I had wiggle room here. And then I've gone and sewn around the top. So let me now show you that. So you can see here, hopefully, with the stitching. Okay, now this one, I've done all of them, all of the pockets. So they look really sweet with the just the vellum over the top to create a pocket, and because of the backing, these can be used to write on as well. So you could stick it onto your page, or if you want it as a floating pocket, you've got double writing space. Because this journal has got so many beautiful hymns, I'm not using the pages as writing space. It's all the little tags and things that are going into it that's creating some writing space for us. So this is really great as a floating pocket because it's printed on the back. You just want to make sure that, now if you don't have a sewing machine, it's okay, don't worry. You can just do a very thin line of glue around the edge and just make sure that you've cut it wide enough so that your tag can go in there and it fits like that. All right, so when instead of cutting it exactly the same, that's why I made it wider, so I could go back, and I'm just going to do this one now, can go back and cut off the excess. I don't know if I'm explaining myself that well today. My brain is a little bit all over the place. Here we go. All right, so there we go. There's my 5 pockets because I've got 5 tags. The tags are with the little hymn tags, and then what I've done is you can use a stencil, which is what I've done, put it over the top and then used a gold metallic pen to draw my image on there. You could also, I do have watercolor pencils, and I think that would be really beautiful if you could go in there and outline it and then use your watercolor paints or pencils with a blending pen. You can do that. I might keep that idea for spring and summer. I might do that. So because of the wintry, not the winter, the autumn colors of this, I've just decided to use the gold pen on all of them. Alternatively, and this is what Kathy had done on hers, she had used these stickers. So I had a few in my stash. I don't really have really big, large ones, but she had bigger ones that she put on her book pages. So you can, if you've got stickers, this is a great way to use them up. Now, what I initially did, you might see, I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of a shine on that. I had a bunch of these big white stickers, and I thought, you know what, these would be really great in this journal because of all the white writing that Carolyn has added and text and scripture onto things. So I did actually put it on and it didn't show up. So these look better with like a solid color underneath. So that's why I then decided to use the stencil instead on these. And then I did use, I had a bunch of little flowers and butterflies, so I've just gone and stuck a butterfly on the front, and then on the back I had, you know, these sort of autumn sort of colored stickers that I've just stuck on the back of those. And then I normally use cream lace a lot in my journals, but once again, because of the white text scripture that Carolyn has added to this kit, I thought, you know what, I'm going to embrace it and do white. So I've just used a glue gun, just twisted it, and instead of doing, because some of them are a little bit close to the top, you could still do it with a hole and an eyelet and put some ribbon in, but yeah, this one's just glue gunned with a bit of lace, and then you could put a bit of bling. I've just put pearls on the top of them. And so this one said the old rugged cross, and so that's why I've just added a little cross on the front of that pocket. Let me just put this in. The notch is just going to make it a little bit easier to pull them out. There we go. Okay, and this one, and this one, this one. Okay, and so when you pull it out, you've got the image, soft image underneath, you've got the writing spot on the back, and you've got the writing spot on the back of that one as well. So if you wanted to add any extra labels, you can do that. You can either do it on the tag or the front of the pocket. So if there's any extra scripture, or you might want to put the name, I might actually go and put, if it's not that visible, I don't know if I will or not. But anyway, you might want to put some scripture or some sentiments or anything on the tag or on the vellum pocket. Okay, so they're going to be ready to go into the journal. Now, what am I going to do next? I might have a bit of a play. No, actually, I'm going to put all my pockets into the pages, see how thick I am and how thick the pages are, and then determine the spine and how I'm going to put the cover together. So I'll be back with you with the next bit. Okay, now what I could have done is I could have had the brown that could have gone over the page, and on this page that wouldn't have been a problem, so I wouldn't have had to have inked this bit. I could have actually glued it onto that page, but on this page it would have probably gone over the side a little bit too much, so I've chosen to do it that way. So now what I'm going to do is just use a bit of washi tape and just put that down to cover those. Now alternatively, what you could have done is, if you've printed out this page again, you can run strips of that just to hide that if you wanted it to blend in, so that's not a problem at all. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is just glue down these. Okay, so there we go, there's that, and I'll find some tags or things that I'm going to fill these in. Okay, so what I've done is I've put pockets in all of my pages. So where all the backing sheets are, that's where I've put pockets, and then filled them with tags or postcards and things like that, and I'll show you that afterwards. So putting that aside, but what I need to do is I'm going to run some lace down the majority of the pages, and I'm going to look at sewing them onto the edge, so we'll see how we go with that. And then I wanted to look at my so once I'd filled up the pages, I wanted to see how thick the two signatures were, that way. Okay, and then obviously they will get a little bit bigger with the lace on the edges as well. So I've gone and cut myself 2 pieces of chipboard for the cover, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a hidden spine on this one. And so the measurements of these are not much bigger than the pages. It is a little bit wider, so I can allow for the lace that I'm running down the side of the pages. So they are 5.5 that way across, and then they're 8 1/4 height. Okay, so with this, with the spine, I wanted it to be more like a book instead of a solid out of chipboard. I've just used a thinner piece of cardstock, and then I've just sort of actually bent it around my glue here just to give it a bit of a bend, because I wanted a bit of flexibility in the spine. And so this one is 1.5 inches, and once again by 8 1/4 height. Okay, so what I'm going to go do off camera is I'm going to wrap this, just cover it in brown paper. So my last video, the autumn journal, I did the same thing. So if you wanted to have a look at that, I can link it in the description box. You can see how I've if you're new to journaling, how that I've wrapped. You need a piece that is bigger than this, and then you miter your corners and wrap it. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, and then come back with you with an idea that I have for the cover. I've covered with brown paper. So there we go. And I have put a bit of a bend into the spine. Okay, so I just rolled that around my glue so it's a bit rounded there, and then I've gone and inked around the edges. And then this is the backing that you could use for the inside cover. Now I was able to stretch this out and print it out quite large on my printer, so I'm using that as my base, and then I'm going to stick this on over the top, as this wasn't quite as big. So that's what I'm having to do for that, and then put this piece on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that, and then the spine, because I made the spine wider to fit this journal, I have actually on my computer, I've actually created a bigger spine that I can glue on here. Now this, as I said, is going to be a hidden signature spine, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this on, and then I'll show you the inside and how we're going to do that. So let me glue this all down and I'll come back to you. So what I've done is I've added lace to all the pages. There's a lot of lace in this journal, so that's added to all the pages, to the edges of them, and then I've even done it on the acetate here. I've stitched that one onto the acetate, and I've also run it down here on the spine, just because just to try and protect it when you poke through holes through acetate, just in case it tears. So both of those are ready, and they're clipped together to sew into the journal. So I'll put those over here, and so this is the journal ready to go. So it looks like that. And then what we want to do is a hidden spine. So what I've done is I've cut a strip. So if you remember, the spine was 1.5 inches. I've cut a piece of card with the digital in there, and I've cut off a slither of it so that it fits in really nice and snugly. So what you want to do is you want to get this right from the start. When you put it in, hold it up and make sure, if you can see there, that it fits in snugly. Now if it bends a little bit or folds, it doesn't fold correctly, and you see the corner of it lift up a bit, you want to cut a slither off it to make sure that it fits perfectly in there, because it's going to cause you problems later on if you don't do that. Okay, so here is my piece, and then what I've done is cut a strip which is like my little template of where I cut my holes. So this is 1 and, as you know, 1.5 that way, and it's the same length height wise. And then I've just put a T on the top to make sure I know where the top is, and I've put a T on the back of that one as well. So what I've done is my signatures, what I've done is I've held them up like this, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but when I've done that, I've sort of had a look at where do I think the signatures will sit in here within the spine, and put a dot on either side, and that gave me a rough idea. So I knew that I was going to come in 3/8 of an inch from the left and 3/8 of an inch from the right, and so I've ruled a line you know, straight up and down for that measurement. So measure from the top and from the bottom, and I've also ruled a line from the middle as well. So find your middle point, and then what you want to do is I've come in 1 inch from the bottom, 1 inch from the top, and then done a horizontal line across the middle and then the top and the bottom there. So hopefully that makes sense. And then what you want to do is you want to line that up on your piece of card, which I've already done here, like that. And then if you've got your pokey tool, which is called an awl, or anything that you can use the equivalent, then you go through and then you poke your holes through the template and then through the spine that you're using, the hidden spine, and then poke those through, which I've already done. Okay, so this is now ready for me to sew my signatures onto here, and we'll leave this later because this is where actually we need it right now. So let's grab this signature here, and we're going to use the template. So that's the top. Make sure it's all put together firmly, and then you've got it's up the right way. And then because you rule the line all the way across, we can see where the dot, where the that one actually looks like it's a little bit low there, but what we want to do is measure up this here, and I'm just going to put a little line on the top of the paper there and the bottom of the paper there, because that will just help me line it up. And then this dot here comes across to here because I've ruled a line, and so I know that's where I want to poke this. I'm just going to do the first one. This is just how I find it easier. Okay, and just all the way through. I mean, you could hold it there, but I actually could just draw a dot. That's what I should have done. There we go. Instead of having to take it on and off, and a dot there, and poke through, right through the center. There we go. And then this one. There we go. All right, so that one's done. And then where's this signature? There we go, we'll do the same. Make sure I've got the top, got that lined up. There we go, and just put a little pencil mark there. There, hopefully you're seeing this. Whoops. On the camera it's a bit, there we go, and one there, and poke our holes through again. And that's trying to get through that acetate as well, and the lace. There we go. Right, okay, we're ready to sew. So what I've got is embroidery thread that is 3 times the length of the page. So 1, 2, 3, and then I've run it through this beeswax little doodad. I don't even know what it's called, but it just puts beeswax onto the thread to make it just go through a little bit easier. Now what we want to do, because I'm just doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, we want to go in through the center. Okay, and leave enough thread on the end, and then in through, have we got the top? So that's the top, so I want that to go through there. Okay, and then through the bottom, and then through the bottom here, through that hole there. Okay, it's a little bit awkward to start, but it will get there. There we go. All right, and then up through the top hole, and through there, and through there. And I just need to pull my thread a bit through there. Okay, and then we're going to go back through this hole, up through here, and on the other side of that thread we want to make sure we don't, gosh, I missed that a bit, we don't want to split the thread as it's coming through, so just want to make sure we tighten that. So make sure it's tight on the back and here. Then I'm just going to pull this needle out so I can get the thread all the way through. Okay, and then we're going to do a double knot. So left over right, and then right over left. Okay, and chop off that excess. And then I'm just going to go thread my second piece. So if you loop it like that and then pinch as much as you can with your fingernail to then thread it. Okay. All right, so we're ready to do the second one. So I'll just go through the center and once again leave a little bit of a tail. Oops. In through that hole, and you can either go through the top or the bottom, whichever your preference is. Whoops. So make sure that's got enough tail still as I'm pulling that through. Okay, and then through the bottom. It's easier just to go through the card and then to go through the signature. Sorry about that. The phone just shut off. I forgot to turn off notifications and it blipped on my phone and stopped recording as I finished sewing in the second signature. But there you go. So what we need to do is glue that in the center there and add lots of glue to make sure that that will stay put. But before we do that, I've got an idea and hopefully it works out, and you'll know about it at the beginning of the video when I show you, because I always film the intro after I finish the journal. So hopefully this works, but I was hoping to do like a peekaboo window in the front of the journal for something different. So here goes. So what I've done is from this bottom point here, I measured, what was it again? I think it was nearly 11 centimeters, which is just under 4.5 inches, a line across here, and I am bravely going to cut out this piece. I hope it's going to be okay. All right, so here we go. So what I need to do is get the knife. I'm just going to make sure where am I going to be cutting it. Now this is going to take, it's quite thick because it's chipboard with the digital over the top. I'm going to have to get this to go through a couple of times. Okay, hopefully I have to come back and then move it this way, and I'm just going to speed through as I'm cutting this. Okay, now that I've cut that out, I just need to ink around the edges here. Okay, so like that, just make sure you've got that all nice and inked up. And then what I've got on the inside cover is this one and this one. Okay, so I can glue this back piece down. That's no problem. This one, what I need to do is measure it up and that it doesn't go over that fold line there. And then make sure that it's all measured up like that. So we might actually get some, if you've got some bulldog clips or some safety pin, not safety pins, what are these called? Paper clips, and we just want to make sure that that stays still so that we can draw a square here and we can go around the outline. All right. So I'll just put these on and then I'll just make sure that it's all measured up correctly on the inside and that it's not coming over the edge here. That actually looks pretty good. Okay, great. And so now I'm going to lay this flat and then get my pencil and cut this out. And so now what I'm going to want to do is actually cut the pencil liners here, but I'm going to cut it directly on the line, and then I think I might need to come over a little bit, but we just don't want to cut too much away. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, and we'll just erase any lines that were there. And this is going to take a little bit of maneuvering and just measuring and just make sure we get it right and that we're happy with it. Okay. So we want to line this back up again. So I'm just going to do this and paper clip it and then have a look. Now I can tell already that is, I might need to cut a little bit more away, but let me just go and do that. I won't bore you with this on camera, and I'll cut away if I need to. Now that I'm happy with how that's been cut out, I am going to just stick down my acetate, transparency film. You might want to put some vellum. Yep, so I'm just gonna, sorry, I put the pin in my mouth. So a couple of videos ago, I went to get some transparency film and it was quite thin, but I went to a teacher's superstore and found this acetate, which is really thick. So I'm going to use this and see how we go. Okay, so just going to make sure there's enough glue. Do I want it that way, or I might put it that way? There we go. Just press that down, and I'm just going to set that aside to dry. And I've also put on the backing piece here, making sure that it doesn't go over the fold on the spine that's there. Okay, so what the idea that I had was to, under this backing piece here, was reprinted this and then put the flap in under here. So I'm going to have to measure that up properly to make sure that sits in the window correctly. So that's going to sit there. But then on this side, I wanted this flap of the hymns to go, sorry, make sure I'm in camera. I wanted this to be on this side of the flap. Okay. So what I want to do is put this one together so I can then put it on this insert. So let's move this aside. And what I've done is I've chopped off the flap off one side, and I've inked around to make sure that when you line them up together you won't see any white. And what I want to do is, I've decided I'm not going to do the interactive bit where you can cut in slits. You can more than welcome to try that, and then you can put your numbers in and out. I decided I wanted more journaling space, so I'm just going to glue my numbers on to it, just, you know, for decoration. And then I'm going to glue all around the top, the bottom here, and leave this open for a journal card to go in there. So I'm just going to go and glue that down. Okay, and so then this is going to be glued here, and I'm quite happy with that wooden piece to be seen there. So I'm going to glue this down and put this on here. Okay, and so I'll just send, oh, now I can't center that because it'll go up the top, so it needs to come down the bottom here so that it will fit there. So I'll go do that. And I've printed the numbers, so I've cut them all out and just inked around the edges so there's no white showing. And as I said, I've printed them out twice. And then what you might want to do is just go through your journal here, and maybe there's some songs that you particularly like. You could do that, and you can grab the numbers from them and then put them on the front of the little the hymn board here. So I'll go do that quickly off camera and then come back for the next bit. Okay, let's have a quick flip through of the journal all finished. My sincere apologies. I had actually filmed my intro, this flip through, and when I went to save it, I'm having some data issues on my phone and I lost the last section, which was me putting the last flap together, but I'll explain that through this flip through. So my apologies. We're hoping that this one works and I can upload the video. Okay, so it's all finished, and what I've done is a lace closure here, and it's a double lace, just so I could make a thicker tie here. What have I done? I haven't done that properly. Okay, so it's got a brad, a flower antique brad there, and then that's about 20 inches of lace there and 20 inches on this piece, just to give that as a closure. What I've added is pearls onto the spine, and then some pearls on the front here, a butterfly on the acetate with some pearls, and then a butterfly on this side. I've also added some lace around the window, lace here where the join is, and then my big large stickers, I've added one here on the front, and then I've added one here on the back. And what else can I tell you? Now this one, as you can see, has a lot of lace on the side of the pages. What would be beautiful if you don't have that much lace is to do clusters of lace on the sides of the pages, and that would be as stunning as well. Okay, so as we open up here, where I finished off was adding this this beautiful hymn board here. So I've popped the numbers on, and then on the reverse I've added a pocket. I've just reprinted this digital and then made a pocket there to add something in, glued it to here, and then this piece went glued onto this part of the cover here. And then after I did that, I was then able to put this piece and glue it on top. So sorry that bit, I can't refilm it because I finished it. Okay, with this bit here, I'll bring it up. I'm not sure if you can see, but what I did was I pulled out my old stamping supplies, and with my embossing pen I went over the top, and then some white embossing powder to create that. It's a bit of a texture. You can feel that over the top. The other thing I forgot to mention was you could put one of these ring brads on the spine here. That would look really lovely, and you could dangle a whole lot of lace and pearls and things. I didn't do that because I felt like I had enough on this side of the journal. I feel like I've got enough lace. It's a bit of overkill, but there we go. All right, let's do a quick flip through. So that flips out there, and I decided to make a pocket. And so what I've included in the pocket, yeah, that's right, I've done the tri-fold hymns there, and then I've actually fussy cut a bunch of things out of the digital. So this was from, I think it was from the flap that you'll see in the middle of one of the signatures. So I've just popped that there, and then I've done a couple of other fussy cuts from the bookmarks. And what I've done here is, with this one I've just put some lace and some doves, and then fussy cut, just printed that and fussy cut that, and then just added some tea dyed papers, 3-hole pamphlet stitch. That goes in the pocket. And then from the folio I used, let me just grab the folio. So here we go. With the folio, what I've done is not included this in the journal as is, but I've taken all the ephemera and all the bits from this digital kit, which is separate to this kit, and then split it up within the journal. So this was the front cover, and I've just put those two bits together, and then just put some tea dyed paper in that one as well, and that goes in that pocket there. Okay. All right, so we've got the acetate window there. And then we have pockets throughout. So this pocket is from the folio, and then as you saw, we made those, so this features throughout. Here we go. And then this one, this part here, because it didn't print front to back correctly, what I've done is just put some green marble paper in there, some fussy cuts on the front, and done a 3-hole pamphlet stitch just to create extra notebook sections there. And on this pocket I just added some embroidery, flowers and things. With this I've used my watercolor pencils and just sort of put a bit of greenery on, and then I've used my white calligraphy pen and just sort of gone over the top of it just to dull down the color a little bit. And this is the center of the signature, so they go out like that. And then I've just put some labels and things on the tags and a little cross dangle there. And then with the bookmarks, I did print them out on card. Let me just pull these out. So there you go, they look like that. And my idea was to actually put a brad or a eyelet in the top, and then use that as a swing, and then to journal on the back of it. Now the reason why I haven't done that is because I don't know why the settings were exactly the same when I printed out on acetate and then printed it exactly again on card. they didn't measure up. That's not the digital issue at all, that's my printer issue, and so they don't quite match up properly, so I've done them separately. I'll put these back in those pockets later, and I just wanted to show you, I printed them twice to see if it was my own user area, and it did the same thing again. But that's the beautiful dove one with all the blues. That's what it looks like printed on a card. Okay, and then where there's a double hem page here, I've just sort of added a butterfly fussy cut there, embroidery bits here with one of these again, some more embroidery things there, and one of those tags, and I've just popped these words throughout, little labels. That one I've actually, oh, it's stuck. I did just glue it here, so there could be a little tuck ticket in there. That's the end of that first signature. And then this one, this is actually from my own stash, this cross, but I just added lace and that on the front, and then some lace here with one of the postcards there. And what I've done with this one is I use my own paper card here, put some torn paper and then these images on top, and just made some very simple notelet pieces to go in those pockets. So that's what that one looks like, just to add a bit more writing space. And then I put lace on the front of the pockets, and then these two tags, they come from this Folio. So that's extra tags that I've been able to put into this journal. And then keep this one, has got two of the postcards that go in there for writing space. His Wondrous Love and Care. I love this image here, and of course this one. There we go. And then here, it's just, and so I've done that with some leaves and the white pen over the top. Now this one, these three pockets come from this Folio, and so does this tag and this tag. So that's just a label and a fussy cut to keep those in there. So they were perfect to put in the middle of this signature and a little cross that's there. And then that little booklet where it didn't print on the front and the back correctly for me, the little book, mini book that comes in the digital ephemera with this kit, I've gone, okay, no worries, I will use them as extra tags, and that's what's going into these pockets here. And then, you know, I can write on the back of them. So there's two there, oops, and then two there, and then just some more leafy pattern there. And then this is the flip pocket, and on that journal card I've just put a butterfly on the front and back. There we go, and a little label there. And then another embroidery piece here with one of these. I'm just so happy with how they've turned out. So hopefully you'll give that a go. Please comment in the comment section if you have a go, if you print them out, and what you're going to do with your journal. So you could choose just a couple of the hymns that you really like if you want to make a smaller journal, and just print blank pages, your favorite blank pages. You might have tea dye, you might have already a digital that has some lined paper with a pattern or something like that. Put them on the back, and that could be your writing on the pages if you prefer to write on pages. Otherwise, do this idea where you can write on the, there's sort of like secret writing spots on the back of tags and things like that. There we go. And if you wanted to, you could use some of the backing papers and make them into an envelope and add an envelope into your journal as well. So I've just put a butterfly on that one. And then here, these two journal cards, they're from this Folio as well. And there we go. That's it. It's all finished. So I hope you like that. This project was very much a lacy, pretty journal. And as I said, I wanted it to look like a hymn book. So I've left it pretty plain as a book looking thing. And then I forgot to mention, I just added the antique little corners on there. All right, this video is long enough as it is, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. God bless, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.